Time now for us to take a look at the headlines in our dailies. We'll start off with Ghanaian Times, and it says heavy rains cut off 46 communities in the Bono region. Bridge washed away, essential services inaccessible to residents. And as you know, somewhere in the Ashanti region as well, we're told that some 3 bodies had been recovered after floods in the area, and that's because there were people who were building on a waterway. Many issues coming up as a result of that. But also moving on, police gunned down 2 armed robbers, 1 arrested, 4 on the run. This happened in the Ashanti region, and these robbers were said to have attacked a gold dealer, and the police was able to shoot down 2 of them. The rest, again, are on the run, and 1 has been arrested. 2021 National Farmers Day launched in Accra to be held in the central region. And aide to Owusu Bempah arrested for illegal possession of arms. And down there it says that 396 suspected criminals grabbed in the Ashanti region, 792 motorcycles impounded. And in fact, armed robbery has become rampant. Almost on a daily basis, we have recorded some armed robbery allegations across the country and across the city as well. The Chronicle, it says that KMA in deep trouble over 50 million Ghana cedis debt. Court orders attachment of office complex. Kumasi enmeshed in filth as Zoom Lion fails to evacuate waste. Suspects in free-for-all fight with police, and police declare war on robbers. Another 2 gunned down. That is for the Chronicle. We'll move on to the next paper, Daily Guide, and it says a jury reports Kaka witness lied. Agric is big deal. Otuo Srebo and Dr. Usefriye Akoto and Nanoto Srebo II at the launch. Okay, now judges, magistrates cry over allowance, and it's not just the allowance they're crying over. They're crying over, the situation of their apartments and cantonments, and they're saying that they are on the fault lines, and so when a flight takes off, the whole building shakes, and unfortunately, their windows are not double glazed, and so it affects everything. In fact, one of them said that he even lost a flower vase after a plane took off from the airport, and so they are not happy about that. They're talking about the conditions of service also in the courtrooms, no CCTV cameras, and a number of things that they touched on. Now, 2 robbers killed, 4 escape, 1 grabbed, and Owusu Bempah boy grabbed. That will be on page 3. On to the next daily graphic, and it says Akratem and motorway potholes patched up. Make health facilities audit report public. Minority challenges governments. This was after, the health committee in parliament, the minority side, decided to visit some of these abandoned hospitals across the country. Fomena is one of the places where they visited, and Honorable Mintan Kando has been speaking about it, and he says that it's sheer wickedness for government to have left some of these facilities to rot, especially for a place like Fominanda, we're told is about 80 to 90% complete. He says at this point, we can't say same anymore. We'll touch on that when we start our conversation. But Bank of Ghana buys first gold in 60 years, plans to purchase 540 kilograms with 200 million Ghana cedis in 2021. Unlicensed coaches hot, can't handle clubs, according to the Ghana Football Association. And the Business Finder, after more awareness key, private sector, diaspora and academia must team up. Ghana will have food in abundance next year, according to the Agric Minister, Dr. Free Akoto, and National Development Bank critical to economic recovery process. That's it for the headlines in our dailies. Joining me this morning, I have lawyer Abraham Amaleba. He's the head of the legal team for the side of the NDC. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Very well.
Okay, thank you for joining us. And also, we have Dennis Miracle Abuaje. He is a former MCE for Ikuapem North. How are you also doing?
Good morning, Bella. We're good.
Everything okay?
Yeah, God has been good.
We'll start off briefly with a conversation about the Ghana Law School and the fact that we have gotten results from the entrance exams that they wrote for 2021. And we're told that 2,034 have failed the law school entrance exams. Only 790 passed out of 2,824. So as it stands now, the percentage of passage is 28%, and we have 72% who failed. In fact, in 2020, we're told that there was a 23% rise in the number of people who actually passed. And so out of 2,763 people who wrote the exams, 1,045 passed. But when we go back to July 2020, 2019, which is when we recorded mass failure. 93% of the people who wrote the exams failed. That was out of 1,820 candidates, and only 128 passed. And that sparked the protest where, you know, the law students were asking for the legal system to be opened up to allow more people to be able to go through law school and get into, or be called to bar. Now, we've been speaking to the SRC president of the Ghana School of Law on the reason why a greater number of them, unfortunately, failed the exams in 2021. And this is what he had to say.
Is the best way to approach this dilemma of whether or not it is good or otherwise for people from the faculty level to write this entrance exam?
Yeah, one, adequate preparation. This was what happened. So some students graduated in July at the LLB level and wrote the entrance exam in August. So technically they have just 1 month to prepare. Now they were examining on 6 areas. If you look at their paper, the paper 2, they had a question on tort and a question on constitutional law. These 2 questions are not level 400 subjects. Okay. They are done in level 200. So if you are done level 400 in July, you have to revise all these courses within 1 month to sit for the entrance exam. So we need to have a national dialogue
on this.
And should we allow, when you are done in July, you wait for a year before you apply to the law school and sit for the entrance exam? You recall in the past, when you are done with WASSE or SSC, you wait 1 year, then you enter the university the following year. Right. So let's have a national dialogue properly.
When it comes to law.
Yes.
Okay.
But my issue is that if it turns out that every student passed, then all students should be admitted. We shouldn't say maybe because there's no space, we are cutting them off. So, but we should also not say, oh, let's forgo the entrance exam.
Because there's no... That is a conversation we probably might look at later. But for now, we are told that there are plans to petition Parliament. For what exactly?
Yeah, before that, you see, the plans to petition Parliament has to do with students who are already at the Ghana School of Law.
Okay.
Now, we are also proposing an alternative to management. That look, some students who have failed go elsewhere. They go to Gambia, they go to Sierra Leone, they go to Nigeria, and they come back to Ghana for post-call without entrance exams. And if you look at the statistics, 65% of those who were called to the Gambian bar this year are Ghanaians. 65%.
So there's concern that needs to be dealt with.
Yeah, so the money that goes to Gambia, they pay in dollars. That amount, let's retain it here. Okay. Let's create an option like, let's say, a fee paying for such students. You understand? Let's rent a facility. If it's the issue about space, let's rent a facility. Let's use that money. The lecturers are paid per hour. Let's use that money to pay the lecturers to lecture them instead of they going all the way to Gambia.
All right, so that's Wonder Victor Kuto. He's the president, the SRC president of the Ghana School of Law. He's not the only one who spoke. In fact, Derek Ado-Akins is the deputy speaker for the Ghana School of Law Congress, and he says that there's an infrastructural deficit, so much so that the first-year students in Ghana Law School going on second year had to do a triple-track system because there literally was no space for them. I'll start off with counsel. You being a lawyer and knowing that in 2019 there was a protest, open up the legal sector so that a lot more students can gain access to the Ghana School of Law. I remember that as part of the concerns that they raised, they petitioned Parliament, and Parliament also, notified the General Legal Council to, as a matter of fact, fix the problem and allow some of them to even rewrite some of the papers that they filled instead of starting the entire course again. What happened to that? And could we have fixed it so that we can avoid the number of people who are unfortunately failing again in 2021?
Okay. So let me start by saying good morning to your viewers. You see, legal education in this country and the world all over is divided into 2. We have the theoretical part, which is handled by the faculties, and you have the professional part, which is handled by the School of Law. The problem is not with the theoretical part. We have enough faculties. The problem has to do with transitioning from the faculty to the law school. And that is where we have the challenge. I was privileged to be part of a group of lawyers who worked on the NDC manifesto in respect of the legal education. And you remember in the lead up to the elections, the NDC came out with some proposals. And I think the students all hailed that proposal. It was seen as the solution to the problems that we are having at the law school. And when you look at our manifesto, page 74, I think, you'll find it there, where we said that, look, the solution to this is that because we already have enough faculties, just accredit those faculties to provide professional education. It's like a school that has a primary kindergarten. You finish, you go to SS, GSS, you go to SS. So we are saying that, look, why do you burden yourself with trying to provide infrastructure? Just accredit those institutions that are providing the LLB to do the professional course. Now, with this type of solution, all that you need to do is to ensure that you have lecturers who can teach the professional courses. And so if we had done that, anybody who was completing, say, Legon would just go to the Legon School of Law. Anybody who was completing Tech would just go to the Tech School of Law. Mount Crest will go to Mount Crest School of Law. And for me, that was the best solution to deal with this matter. Those people they consider as having failed did not actually fail. There was a cutoff. You can't admit all of them, so you need to cut off. So some of these people, or prospective candidates, could have still gone to the law school, but because of lack of space.
So you're saying that this is deliberate, to cut off the numbers?
No, it's not deliberate. The room you have cannot contain all of you. So there must be sieving. There must be a cutoff. That's all.
Yeah, but what if I also make the mark and unfortunately I can't get access?
And that is why you find a situation where the Ghana School of Law is now trying to do this, what do you call it? This tracking system. You know, for the first time, the Ghana Law School wants to do that. It's because there's no space to accommodate all of them at a go. So what do? Let's also do green, yellow type of thing. It's about space.
But if we're talking about space, I know that the Legal Profession Amendment Bill that was laid in 2018 has that aspect where they're going to decentralize professional training. There was a plan for that as well.
How do they do that? Because I've not seen that. And I'm saying that currently, the situation is such that the law school cannot accommodate all. And indeed, it is rather, this 700 wouldn't have been 700 and something, but for this, give me the name. This
triple track, in fact. For them, they're running a triple track.
It's a triple track that even increased it to 700.
So it would have been less.
It would have been less. My time were just 200 and something, and I'm told that even my time were huge. Some other previous period, it was just 40, some 100. So it is a triple track that has even increased to the 700. So the solutions are there. Whether the administrators and the government will listen is another question. And when you go to our page 47, it's there. Just accredit those institutions that are providing the faculties, that are providing the theoretical studies to become schools that can also provide legal professional education. That's all.
But for them, they are saying that instead of writing the entire or starting the entire course again, if we fail some of these papers, give us the opportunity to just rewrite those papers, which is one of the main issues that they raised when they staged the protest back in 2019, that allow us to rewrite some of these papers. And in fact, they talked about even the cost in rewriting, if they could reduce that as well. Clearly, not much has been done about it.
The costs, I agree. The costs, I agree, because even with this call, you know, there's going to be a call on Monday or so, 1st October.
That's tomorrow.
Tomorrow, rather. They are paying 5 million cedis for a call, not for admission into school, just for the call.
When you say 5 million, as in 500 Ghana cedis?
No. 5 million.
Who is paying that amount of money?
The students.
Each?
Each.
5 million Ghana cedis?
Yes.
To be called to bar?
No, that's not what he means. Just, that's what he means.
I need to understand this. I'm a little confused.
The figure.
I'm saying that
Cancel the figure, 5 million.
those who are going to be called to the bar,
After passing the exams,
yes,
they have to pay an amount of money to be called to
called
bar.
to the bar.
That's how it's always worked?
This amount is extravagant. This amount is too huge.
No, it's not 5 million. Let him correct it. I mean, you should.
No,
What's
when you say 5 million, are we talking the old Ghana cedis? So is it 500 Ghana cedis? Or you're saying current 5 million Ghana
5
cedis?
million. Yes.
That's too much money.
Oh, no.
Who?
So, I'll check it for you.
Okay, please check, because
I'll check it for
I mean,
you.
if every individual is paying 5 million Ghana cedis, that's a little. Are you saying 5,000 Ghana cedis?
Yes.
Maybe that's what you mean.
Yes.
5,000 Ghana
Yes.
cedis.
5,000.
Okay,
Exactly.
Okay.
5,000.
Yes.
So even after passing the exam, you have to pay that amount of money to be called
5,000
to the
Ghana
bar.
cedis, yes.
Is that how it's always worked?
You pay some money to, as it were, purchase your uniform, the bib, the wig, and all those things. But this amount, 5,000, is huge.
Wow.
It's too huge. So, as for the area of the finances, I agree that the law school is becoming an expensive place to go. And by so doing, it is pricing out the poor, and the poor may not be able to, go. But I also think that it is important that as we expand access, we do not compromise quality. It's important.
Yeah.
That the people that you are turning out to be lawyers should be of a certain standard. And so for me, as for the exam situation, whether if you fail 2 papers, you should not be allowed to go to the next stage. I don't want to be seen, tampering with the quality of the students that we pass out. I think that if you fail 2 courses or the 3 courses,
Yeah, 3.
in our time it was the same thing, you have to repeat.
Okay. You don't think that should change?
I don't think that should change. For me, I think that the quality, for quality, we shouldn't compromise.
But the person is saying that some of them come out with their LLB in July, and then by August they have to write the exam again, and so it does not give them enough time.
So fine, it's not therefore saying that when you fail, you should go. It means that they must do something about the timing of the exams.
Okay.
That I agree to. But I do not, once again, let me state categorically, that as we clamor for expansion of access, we should compromise quality. That I will not agree.
Okay.
But I also know that there are some of those who are rejected as having not passed. Go to, say, Gambia, go to Zambia, go to Tanzania, and then go to the law schools there, and come back here, and they go through the post-call.
Yeah.
Now, what does this tell us? It tells us that it is not the case that all those we say have failed are bad. And that it is possible for these people to also be called to the bar. How do we fix this? And fixing it is what I have said.
Okay.
It is about accommodation. It's about space. So you fix it by using the solution that the NDC provided in page 74, which says that accredit those same faculties to provide professional education.
For those who unfortunately do not pass, can they be engaged in paralegal services?
We don't have that in our country.
Okay.
It would have been best to then institute that and say that this category will become lawyers, this other category will become paralegals.
Okay.
And I think that if we also do that, probably it would save the situation. But still, it is about space. The whole idea of people not getting into the law school is about space and nothing else.
Okay, Dennis, let me bring you in, because I remember that former Chief Justice Sophia Ekufu spoke on this particular matter when the law students were protesting, and she said that they had to keep the number of lawyers in Ghana at a minimum level so that we can maintain the standard, the high standard of it. Are we still working with that, which is why we're seeing a greater number of them failing, or what exactly is the problem?
Thank you, Bella. Let me say a very warm good morning to my senior brother, Counsel Maliba. And then I wish all the best to my friend, my brother, Honorable Frank Edu, Ikefem South, Municipal Chief Executive. His confirmation is this morning, and we are really appealing to the assembly members to do the needful so he can get back to work. He's a very hard worker, one of the most hard-working municipal chief executives under this government. So Honorable Frank Edu, Ikefem South, Ebri, I wish you all the best this morning.
Carry on then.
Bella, I mean, I agree with council to a very large extent. I mean, completely. The fact that a lot of these failures, I think, are just artificial. To be able to ensure two things. I think they are ensuring two things. One, to ensure that their space is not overwhelmed, and then two, to continuously create some mystery around the law profession. And I'll tell you about my personal experience. In 2003, that was when Tech introduced the law faculty for the first time.
Yeah.
And that was when I was going to the university for the first time. So I applied to go study law.
Okay.
Because, I mean, since childhood, I've been called Dennis Law. So all I wanted to do is law. Only for me to be called for an interview. I mean, the grades were perfect. There was nothing wrong with my grades. So they called me for an interview. I went to the interview. I went through hassle. That was my first time in Kumasi. And then at the interview, the only question I was asked, and this is my personal experience, the only question I was asked at the interview at Tech was whether I had any family member who is a lawyer. I'm telling
That's all they asked you?
This is me, myself, 2003, very young.
Okay.
Very, very young. 2003, the only question I was asked was whether I have any family member as a lawyer. At Tech, I went to my mother. So she was sitting outside. After that answer, that I have no family member as a lawyer, I was thanked and said I will hear from them. I am telling you this.
And you were rejected. You could not make it to the law school. Since then, I lost
complete interest. I have never had any interest. In fact, it's one of the professions I don't want to. I would hide them. I would rather hide them. I stepped out. I told my mom. There was a mate of mine from the junior high school. I remember her very well, Francisca Kusiapia. Her father was then a judge. She was also coming for the interview. Immediately I said, I told Francisca, I'll be in your school now. Because her father then was a circuit court judge or a magistrate court judge then.
Okay.
And so, for me, I think that it's just an artificial way of the legal system, the lawyers trying to create a certain mystery and make it look like they are the, ish people, so very few people are in there. And then secondly, because they are not expanding on their infrastructure and capacity, they also cut off all these people. And that's not the only place. In our educational system, that challenge is there. There's a certain artificial cutoff point for students from junior high school to senior high school. There's a certain artificial cutoff point from students from senior high school to the universities. And so they say you get a certain grade, you can't go to the University of Ghana to go and study business school, to go to the business school. If you remember, and I'll give you this classic example and I'll conclude. During our days, even if you get a grade 8 or 7, you cannot get admission to the University of Ghana Business School. Today, it has changed. The question is, why has it changed? Because they have bigger infrastructure now at the University of Ghana Business School, for which reason they have relaxed and expanded the cutoff points. Why are we doing this to ourselves? I read that we have barely 3,000 lawyers in Ghana against 30 million population. Technically, we have one lawyer to 10,000 citizens. And you are telling me that students of about 2,800 sit for an exam, and not even 40%.
It's just 23%.
Not even 40.
28%.
Elsewhere, if it's a private school, I'll take my kid out of that school. What did you teach him? How are you able to teach my child? You are supposed to train and groom my child to be able to go through an educational system, and you have less than 40% of them failing. It's an indictment on even you, the one who is impacting the knowledge. But clearly, we're not even discussing that. We are placing the blame only at the doorstep of the student. How about the one who, what did you teach them? How did you impact
But that's what these students are saying, that it is not that these students don't know what they're studying or don't understand what
exactly
they're
my point,
writing.
yes.
But it's a systematic failure.
Exactly.
So what is government also doing about it to expand infrastructure and to decentralize
but
professional...
Even the Ghana Legal Council and all those who are the key stakeholders that I've heard and listened to are still disputing the fact that it's just about infrastructure. Usually they will hide behind quality. Usually they will
Which
hide.
is what the former Chief Justice said as
usually.
well.
And all of them, I'm telling you, it's a whole, I don't know whether using the word cabal is, ultimately they will use the word quality. And I'm struggling to understand how you tell me that you train 2,800 students and you don't even get 50% quality lawyers out of them. You cannot convince me out of that. So even if the people in the industry are not admitting to the fact that it is an infrastructural challenge and that it is a systemic failure and that it is an artificial disqualification, how then do we even fix the problem? Because they are not admitting. Council made a very valid point. These same students that they failed, a lot of them are going to Gambia and coming back. And they are becoming one of the best lawyers you have in the country.
Exactly. In fact, 65%, which is what the SRC president said, 65% of the people that were called to ban Gambia.
A few months ago, the president cut the sword for a new location for them. Because I have never even understood why they are still at that squeezed up location at Makola. So let's hope that eventually when this new facility is completed, which is bigger and much more spacious, we'll begin to see a lot more. And I can tell you that when that facility is done, you see a lot more students qualifying. And at that point, they will not tell you, they will not make the quality argument. It's not an issue of quality.
Because we do have the quality.
I know some of the students who sat for that exam, they are top class A level, A plus level students. They cannot possibly fail these papers. They have just been cut off.
But you see, are we not losing money to Gambia? Because again, the SRC president said that money that's being used to pay fees in Gambia, if we even adopted the fee-paying system here at the Ghana School of Law, all that money would stay here, and we can even rely on that money to expand infrastructure.
The people
in the
country. The sector don't mind. The people in the sector don't mind. You listen to them. You talk to them. Talk to all them, lawyers, judges in the Ghana legal. They'll tell you they don't mind. They don't
General
mind.
Legal Counsel.
General legal. They don't mind. They don't mind. There are some of them that are so conservative, still so protective of the profession. This is law. We cannot just pass everybody. You cannot just pass everybody. I have seen a lot of lawyers who have been called to the bar and they are, I don't know which word to use. They are not up to scratch. There are a lot of such lawyers. And I have seen some people who are not lawyers and can even interpret the law and deal with the law way better than
what are we doing to those people, the LLB holders who could not make it to law school?
I am as frustrated as you are, to be very sincere with you. I think that they need to admit that the challenge is not about the quality of the students and that it is about the artificial cut-off. I'm very passionate about this thing.
But can we at least make them paralegals for now? Can we introduce that?
Are they interested? You see, the point is that there's a system. It's like this medicine thing that we practice in Ghana. If you go to Cuba, there are taxi drivers who are medical doctors. They train them like a vocation, But when you come to Ghana, it's a mystery. When we're growing up, you see lawyers like some demigods and some mysterious people. Same with medicine. But you go to other countries, and medicine is taught differently. But the people in the sector don't even want people to come in. They don't. They do not want a lot more people to come in. They want to protest. So you see, in Accra, for instance, there are very few lawyers who, when I say very few lawyers, when you go to the Supreme Court, there are some, every case you see some particular lawyers. And you go to the magistrate court and the circuit court, there are no lawyers. There are people, as this morning in the Kropon circuit court, who are probably hovering around looking for lawyers to serve them.
But
and I come from Latte.
By the way.
I come all the way from Latte. Travel at night in the rains. Come to Kumasi. I have passed all my exams. That has qualified me to come to your faculty. And you ask me whether I have a family member. If any of them is watching me, those people who interviewed me, I would want them to come and dispute what I am saying.
Let me ask this quickly, because sometime in 2018, the Legal Professional Amendments Bill was introduced in Parliament and was supposed to do a number of things. So it said that requirements for pupillage and renewal of legal licenses from 6 to 12 months, and it should be 12 hours of continuous legal education programs. And then entrance exam quotas were also part of the bill, and decentralizing professional training. What has happened to that? They will not allow it to happen. I'm telling you. Okay. It's a whole, the people, they will not allow you. They are like football people. Okay. It's a cabal. They will not allow you. The top people who have gone through the Gold Coast system of
legal training and they are top judges. They are supposed to take the decisions. Bella, they don't want a lot of the young people to get in.
Anyway.
They still want the sector to be mysterious. That's my view.
Let me let lawyer land on this so we move on to our next topic.
We've gotten to a point where we will need a stakeholder conference on this. I know there are a lot of ideas that people have. I know Abochi at UPSA has some fine ideas. I know a number of lawyers who have proposed solutions to this. Why not have us all in one room to try to resolve this problem? I can understand his frustration, and I must say that that lecturer or interviewer who asked that question of him must bow down his head in shame. If that were the case, to find out whether you have a relation in the profession before you are admitted, some of us here wouldn't have. Because some of us are virtually the first lawyers in our family, even if not the entire village. So to have asked him that question, I think if he had the opportunity at that time, he should have escalated it and let the authorities know how he was treated. I think that was a discrimination. The legal profession does not discriminate amongst whose parents was a lawyer and whose parent is not. Because I know some judges who come from poor backgrounds and they are judges today. I think this is an isolation in his case where he was asked a specific question of whether he has a relation who is a member of the legal fraternity.
Okay.
But I think the time has come for us to have a stakeholder conference on this matter.
All right, let's move on to our next topic. We'll discuss the announcement by the Director of Communications at the Presidency, Mr. Eugene Ahin, who said that at a press briefing on Monday that government was in the process of acquiring a bigger jet for use. Now, he said the Minister of Defense has made it clear that government has decided to buy a bigger jet to save us all from these troubles. And these troubles, of course, referring to the allegations that government had spent over 10.1 million Ghana cedis on flights alone, presidential visits to a number of countries. You remember this started some months ago when the MP for Northong, Honorable Sam Okudzeto Ablakwa, had accused the president and his team of renting a private jet, in fact, a luxurious private jet. That was about £16,000 an hour. It did not stop there. We heard from the defense minister who came to explain that there were a number of reasons why they had to go rent a private jet for the president. Security, one of them, capacity, and a number of other things. Then there was a second accusation from the Northong MP. And now he says that we spent about 10.1 million Ghana cedis on hiring private jets for the president's trip. Now the communication director says we're going to buy a new private jet, and minority says we are rejecting this unanimously. Let's listen to what Honorable Sam Okudzeto Ablakwa had to say to Roland Walker on this particular issue. We'll come back and discuss.
All the information I have put out so far have all checked out. They are incontrovertible. They are unimpeachable. Indeed, the first information I put out about the president's charter aircraft of the world's most luxurious ACJ 320neo, which is an Airbus business jet. On the 16th of June, when the defense minister appeared in Parliament to respond to my question on the airworthiness of our presidential aircraft, the Dassault Falcon 900 EXE, the defense minister confirmed. I have put out conservative estimates that the 3 trips he has made in recent times has cost the Ghanaian taxpayer not less than 10.1 million Ghana cedis.
But the reality is that if that is what the presidency wants, then it means that we need to have a policy or make that conscious decision, whether it's you, the parliamentarians, or the political elite, or as a country, that we need a presidential jet, a new presidential jet. What do you say?
It is clear to me that the charter arrangements that President Akufo-Addo has been pursuing was just to herald this. They were preparing the grounds for this big announcement that a new presidential jet is needed. Let me serve notice that we on the NDC side in Parliament, we have discussed extensively amongst ourselves. We are not going to support this purchase, the purchase of a new aircraft, because of a number of reasons. One, the current presidential jet is fit for purpose, as President George Weah has told us in our faces. It's very fit for purpose. There's nothing wrong with it. Number two, the current presidential jet, if you read the Hansard of 19th March 2008, we were told by the then defense minister, who is now National Security Minister, Honorable Kandapa, that our jet has a 20-year lifespan after it arrives. It arrived in October 2010. It's done barely 11 years. Next month, it will be 11 years. We are nowhere near 2030, where you can start discussing a new aircraft.
We're nowhere near discussing a new aircraft. That's the MP for Nontonga, Honorable Kujeto Ablakwa. Council, I mean, he has stated the reasons why minority is unanimously rejecting the purchase of a new aircraft. But then if we look at the amount of money that's being spent in renting these private jets and the fact that the defense minister had stated clearly that there were a number of reasons why the president was not flying the Falcon because of security, capacity and all of that. And so we've gotten to a point where we need to buy this bigger one because the armed forces is requesting for it so we can transport a larger number of people at once. Why are we rejecting this then?
I don't know why President Nana Akufo-Addo is so insensitive to the plight of Ghanaians. In Ghana today, we have two categories of workers. Public sector workers. Article 71 holders and Article 4 holders. Article 4 holders are the teachers who have been given 4% increment. They are the nurses. They are the, name them, those in the local government service, those in the civil service. You tell the people that because of COVID, you cannot increase their salaries beyond a certain threshold. And indeed, I've said this on this platform, that anytime this government fails in delivering its promises, they cite COVID as a reason for their failure. I've said on this platform. The question now to ask is, in this COVID period, when everybody has been stretched and overstretched, why should a government be thinking of purchasing a jet or a presidential jet? Why? So you see where my description of the government and the president as insensitive comes in? Look, somebody should tell the president that governance is not about his comfort. Governance is about the comfort of the people, if he doesn't know. It is not about his comfort, it's the comfort of the people. That's why we choose governments. That's why, for instance, in our constitution, he doesn't pay tax. They don't tax his salary. So that he can have a peace of mind to address our needs. But you have this president who is at each time, at each stage, is testing the resolve of the people, testing the patience of the Ghanaian people. Look at his lifestyle. You come into government, you appoint both your external and immediate family into government. Not long, when you are traveling, you carry your chair into one V8 to go and sit, to meet the people. He's always testing the anger of the people. Always testing the anger of the people. Why?
But should we not be concerned about the safety?
No concern.
Let me ask you this. Because
no concern about anything.
Hold on,
security.
Counsel.
You said security. Who asked him to be renting this
jets. We have a presidential jet. Other presidents have used it. Indeed, that same presidential jet, the Namibian president also has, our type also has. When the Namibian president flies in that jet to, say, international conferences, he still less a president than Akufo-Addo, just because he came in that presidential jet.
But
they are not, a president.
They don't have the same condition, do they?
The same thing. The same Falcon 900. And so this test of our president, who is behaving like he's a king, is worrying.
Council,
we cannot buy a jet at this time when he has refused to increase the salary of workers beyond a certain threshold. You think the Ghanaian people will be happy for him doing that? When there's a president, if there was no jet at all, I can understand. That probably it is demeaning to have your president go into a commercial flight. But even that, some presidents have shown that it can be done.
Yeah. Former late President J.A. Mills.
Even Zambia president, when they were going to this UN, he went into a commercial flight. So you cannot be thinking about purchasing a jet, a new jet now, when there's a jet at this time.
But the defense minister has told us, and he told us when he appeared before Parliament to respond to the earlier accusation about this luxurious jet, that this is a request that's coming from the Ghana Armed Forces. In actual fact, this is not a jet that belongs to the president. He can only request for it, and it will be made available to him if he has to travel with a large delegation. And in fact, in 2008, when former President Kufuor had, made arrangements for the two, the Falcon was supposed to have flown just within Africa, so that the bigger one, the Boeing business jet, would have been for all these international trips. And so there was an arrangement for both. And in fact, yesterday, Koko Anyidoho said that we're politicizing this issue, and that maybe we would have saved a lot of money if we had gone ahead to still purchase the Boeing business jets back in 2010 or 2008, when former President Kufuor had, requested for it. And so are we not going back and forth with this when this could have saved us a lot more then, which is why they're trying to purchase it now for everybody else who can use it and not necessarily the president?
Why do you want to travel with your entire cabinet? Why? Mr. President, why? Why does he want to travel with his entire cabinet together in a plane? Why? Is it not even dangerous? Do you know it's even dangerous to have all your ministers with you in the entire in a flight? Why? Can't those who want to accompany the president go in commercial flights? You see, could he have lived this luxurious life when he was in opposition? This chartering of luxurious jets and now capping it up with buying a new jet. Could he have afforded that type of lifestyle when he was in opposition?
But that's what I'm saying, that it's not only about the president, it's about everybody else. Because, again, the defense minister said that over the last 10 years, we spent $50 million to transport the military to Lebanon and to other peacekeeping centers. And so if we're looking at the money that we're spending in transporting these number of people, would it not make more sense? Would it not be more prudent that we find a larger Airbus for them?
Are you looking at retooling the military, which I have no problem, or you are looking at the comfort of the president? I don't know which one you are talking about. I am saying that the president has no business in this COVID period for him to be suggesting to the people of this country that he wants to buy a new jet. When the Ghanaian worker has been deprived of increment of salary. You heard Justice Jomafe yesterday talking about even judges.
Yeah.
These are even privileged people, and even them, they will have to go and virtually beg for their allowances to be paid. And you are University of Ghana. Jampo has always been talking about problems. Your trainee nurses yesterday were also there, and you think all these people will be happy seeing you having a jet and yet buying another jet for your comfort? Why? What is wrong with our president wanting to have his own comfort beyond the rest of us? Why? So I think that he has tested the patience of Ghanaians enough. Ghanaians should pull the brakes now and say, this one, it won't happen. And I'm calling on all Ghanaians to join me.
Johnny is here. He'll read some messages quickly before I come to Dennis.
Okay.
Welcome, Johnny.
Well, thank you very much, Bella. Well, it says, good morning, Bella Mundi and Koki. You raised a very serious question. The previous government had completed many hospitals and they are not being used. The politics is too much in Ghana. Johnny, it's you, the journalists and civil servants, who will help build and move this country forward, but not the politicians. Waste of money, resources, and too much chop. Abu Spain, Imagina. Well, we are under political leadership, so we hold those who have power accountable as well. Good morning, TV3. I agree with lawyer Maleba. The professional training in legal education should not be limited to one institution. Or government should take necessary steps to decentralize our legal system of education for easy access. Break the monopoly. Bella, this government doesn't have any plan to expand access to legal education. Remember when NDC promised to expand access during the 2020 elections? MPP quickly passed huge numbers to deceive prospective students that MPP meant well. It turns out to be Kululu. NDC will come in 2024. Read the 2020 manifesto. NDC has a plan for expanding legal education, and Ghanaians are beginning to appreciate the fact that NDC is King Kong in expanding access to legal education. Manuel, Central Tongue. Good morning, TV3. Unemployment is the root cause of frequent robbery, and we are witnessing as the devil finds job for the idle hands. Now, think of the so many employment opportunities those neglected hospital projects could create, yet our so-called leaders don't care. Oh God, why African leaders don't think positively? Isaac Inteshi. Mahamaba Kojo from Eswom says, why do we talk of failures as if the Ghana School of Law has the capacity to admit all the 2,824 candidates? And what efforts are in place for expansion or even to offer online programs in this technological era to offer education to those who need it? As said by the SRC president, foreign countries are cashing in on the failure of our system to work. This is a selection process, and stop referring to them as failures. Mahamaba sent that one. 2,034 field law exam, meaning 28% passed entrance exam. This is very worrying and disheartening. Some people should be answering questions on this mass failure. Prince Henry in Kofridia. Good morning, Bella. Isn't it strange and ridiculous that government would actually take a decision to ban the export of agricultural produce to neighboring countries at a time that other countries are busy looking for competitive market prices across their borders for their farmers? We are here trying to reduce profit to our farmers and in effect kicking them out of business. As an agriculturist, I think the government should have quickly taken advantage of the situation and found ingenious ways to continue to step up local production of such staple crops to a level where more people can even be employed in the agricultural sector to create a win-win situation for all, some in East Legon Hills. Good morning, TV3. In fact, I agree with Councillor Maleba that the law institution should be expanded and allow the universities to train lawyers without necessarily finishing at Mokola. It will be very pathetic to hear the kind of questions asked at interview, and I understand the same question is asked for medical school. Why are we killing people's dreams? Poor families too must progress. The pressure from top authorities is too much, yet they went through easily. Things must change for our generation to make progress. From Victor Rapture and Hope. Good morning, TV3. On the issue of the ambulance service, do you know that if you call them directly or if they see you even dying, they are not obliged to assist you unless they receive a call from their head office? A very classical example has been happening in Kumeu. Someone was dying. The ambulance service station at the district assembly was called, and the health personnel were told by these paramedics that they have not received any call from their office to move the vehicle. So I asked myself, what is the essence of their presence at the district level? From Emmanuel Amu in Kumeu. Bernard Mona sent this one. He says, how can a rented jet assure security than our own jet? At every point in time, we must do what is necessary before what is beautiful. We need to attend to the cries of the many unemployed youth seeking for #fix the country. Bernard Mona.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Bernard, and everyone else who sends their messages. Dennis, coming to you. I mean, very key questions here about the fact that public sector workers only got a 4 to 7% increase in their salary. Okay, we have abandoned hospitals that were yet to complete. Some of them have been completed under lock and key. Others will require some amount of money to be able to complete them. All these issues persist. People are having to pay more on taxes because we're told COVID, and so everything is in a total mess. We're now trying to figure ourselves out. Why do we need a jet at this time when we're yet to fix a number of problems that persist in our country?
Bella, the question is, why are we doing this to ourselves? And I really pray that you give me same 10 minutes so I can do justice to that point. why are we doing this to ourselves? This is 2007 being played all over again by the NDC. This is 2007 being played again where NDC is playing on the emotions and sentiments of the people and putting economics and logic on the side. I'll ask some fundamental questions. But before then, I'd want to correct certain things. Number one, the president has never traveled with his entire cabinet. It's a complete falsehood. You cannot show me, TV3. Most of the times, your reporters are constantly with the president on some of these trips. Mention just one trip that you've seen the president with his entire cabinet. It's a complete, palpable lie. One of those needless propaganda that the NDC put out there. Number two, the figure that they bandy around by Sami Okujetu Ablakwa are complete lies. In fact, the so-called aircraft that you showed on the screens is not the aircraft that the president even traveled with. The president has never traveled with that particular aircraft.
Which is what, the DBJ, the NEO?
That's, yes, he has never traveled with it. It's a complete lie. On July 28th, the president was in the UK for the Global Education Summit. Mm-hmm. That trip, the president used an aircraft called LXDI Obuen aircraft. In August 2020, the president was in Germany for the G20 Compact African Summit. Mm-hmm. The president traveled with the same LXDI Obuen aircraft. The president, the time he was in the UK, that aircraft that Sami Okujetu has picked from Google was parked at Paris Airport. At the time the president was in Germany, that aircraft that Sami Okujetu has been lying about and has been able to get the media houses to be showing on their screens has been hired by an African president for 15 days. And that African president was embarking on a trip to Belgium, Germany, Middle East, and the Far East. So if, first of all, the aircraft you mentioned is a complete lie, then it tells you that the figure that he's bandying around is also a lie. You ask him, and he says that he picked the figure from the website of that aircraft company. That is not even the aircraft the president traveled with in the first place. And secondly, how do you pick a figure from a website and then you use it as an assumption to do your computation, and when you come and sit on TV, you don't tell them that, but you move it around as if that is a fact. So that's also a complete falsehood. Now let's come to the main issues. The Ghana Air Force, not under Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, since Professor Mills had always told us that the aircraft that we have, the Falcon, doesn't have the capacity to do long hauls. In fact, at some point, former President Mills had to abandon the aircraft so that he can travel on commercial flights, even sometimes rent and charter planes. There was a particular time that he had to charter a flight from the US to Venezuela because of the challenges with the flight. Former President Mahama himself, there was a time that he had to put this Falcon aside and charter a flight. If you remember, in 2014, do you remember the Vista Jet issue when he went to Scotland to speak with the Scotland Parliament and then receive an honorary degree? He had to come home with the Vista Jet, a hired chartered flight that cost us almost about £87,000. Former President Mahama. Under Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, when he came, he had been traveling with the Falcon during his early days. But you see, there was a particular incident that happened. Nanado, on his way from this particular trip to Ghana, had one of the engines on the aircraft actually catching fire in the air. And so the Air Force had to land the aircraft, that's our Falcon, our presidential jet, in an emergency. And then they had to come home in a different flight. Later, the Air Force had to go to resolve it and bring it back. And since then, they had advised the national security that, listen, our aircraft is not suitable for long-haul journeys. I listened to Koku Anyidoho, and it was quite clear that during the days of Professor Mills, they had to park the Falcon on several locations because they had to make several stops and whatever to be able to refuel and all of that. If it was you and I, our father, working for us, would we want him to be sitting in an aircraft? Even you and I who travel with Emirates or any of the airlines. No, let me make my point.
You land,
and then you ask a question. Let me make my point. If I sit in an aircraft that even goes through unnecessary turbulence, next time I even change the airline. I do it all the time because everybody thinks about their lives and their safety. Fast forward, the Ghana Air Force say, listen, we need to have a strategic aircraft for the country. One that can undertake official government trips and also be used for strategic airlifting by the Ghana Air Force with a minimum capacity of about 100. Because in the last 10 years, the Ghana Air Force has spent $50 million on airlifting their personnel to peacekeeping because we don't have an aircraft of that capacity. And if we have to be spending so much money in ensuring that the president either travels on commercial or highs or whatever that our presidents have to do, then let's rather spend that money in getting an aircraft that can be multi-purposely used so that we can all save some money for ourselves.
So how much have we spent on the president's trip? This is what we need to know, because again, I remember when the defense minister was responding in Parliament, and we talked about the, Honorable Gov'T Ablakwa talked about the 2.8 million Ghana cedis that had been spent. He said that nobody sees an advertisement and pays the full price. I cannot do someone's job. What does that mean? Does it mean that it was still that same company, but they probably negotiated? No, because then that's totally different from what you are.
I have already told you, no. I've told you emphatically, I'm giving you.
I'm just asking because of what he said.
But I've even made that point. That's a general statement about you, a member of parliament picking a figure from a website and bandying it around. That's what everybody will ask. I will be amazed. Today, Apple, when you go to their website, 999, iPhone 13. But people are buying it for 10,000. Others will even end up buying it for 800. Depends on where you're buying it from. But it's the same iPhone. The point I am making here is that if you want answers, you ask in Parliament. You asked before, and you were told that you need to ask the National Security Minister. In fact, Gov'T Ablakwa, Honorable, has indicated that he's already prepared this question for the National Security to answer. Wait for that and get your answers. Okay. But this tendency of saying that, oh, we will not allow, they've done it before. In 2007, let me
we want the price. Because it looks like that's shrouded in secrecy.
You get it right. No, it's
we deserve to know.
There is a process.
No, but if you're responding to it, what's the process? We need to know how much has been spent. Because if you've come out to debunk the allegation that it was not the over 10.1 million Ghana cedis that we spent, do we not deserve to know then exactly how much we spent?
It will be answered. In Parliament. Parliament is on recess now.
No, but wait. Forward. If the communicator of the presidency has been able to come out and tell us that this figure that is being bandied about is wrong, can he not tell us how much? But he doesn't have the mandate.
He doesn't have the mandate. Listen, somebody spends. He's not the spending officer. Why should he be responding to something that he didn't spend or he doesn't have the mandate? But the point is, the key point for me here at this point is that in 2007,
land on this.
In 2007, a similar incident turned out.
There was no COVID.
And the NDC, hold on. You see why there is COVID, and yet Lordina Mahama, the wife of the ex-president, is receiving salaries for no work done. Why don't we give it to the public sectors? President Mahama, that's what we are talking about. No, hold on.
Former First Lady
I'm telling you, you are telling me that there is COVID, and I'm telling you that let's cut the resources we give to President John Mahama, and then we add it to the salaries of the public.
Why not cut the money we're going to spend to buy?
Because I do not agree with that argument. I think that argument is lame and trivial. So President Mahama and his wife should have their benefits all right, and then we move on. I am just making the point that point is trivial. The point that because there is COVID, the president shouldn't travel, or he should travel in a bobo or a truck.
Nobody has said he shouldn't travel.
So if he's going to travel, how should he travel? So he shouldn't buy it, he should rent it, because the Falcon cannot travel. It cannot travel. The Falcon cannot travel.
The Falcon was used
long distance.
Liberian president.
From Liberia to Ghana.
The Liberian president.
From Liberia to Ghana.
This Falcon was also used to France before.
Liberia to Ghana.
You have a situation where they are hiding behind the military.
Am I going to speak twice too?
Hold on.
They are hiding behind the military. They are hiding behind the military to say that it is the military that is asking for this. But it is clear.
He's cutting to my conversation.
It is clear.
Dennis,
it is clear that they are running away from transparency. You ask very relevant questions. If this was a government that was interested in transparency, and Okujeto put out figures and amounts, and you think it was not right, you will be the first person, and for that, this government would have been the first to come out and provide the answers about how much has been used.
Can I conclude?
Now you have the defense minister coming to say that no. The defense minister coming to say that it is the finance minister. The finance minister said, give me time. Then when you gave him time, he comes to say that it's a national security. You can see the deliberate attempt to cover up. And these are people who cannot be trusted.
Then it's 30 seconds. We have to go, please. Koko, please.
The president needs to travel. The Falcon that we have, one of the engines caught fire in air. The president has an option to rent a flight and pay for it. The president and the Ghana Air Force believes that it is overly costly. It makes no sense to spend so much money, and that if we rather use it to procure one, it makes economic sense. What the NDC is doing now, they did it in 2007 to Kufuor.